Hi everyone, so today we're going to be going over a little bit of a interesting race for the 2020 Senate race that I wanted to take a deep dive into, and that is the fact that Roy Moore looks like he's going to be jumping into the Senate race in 2020 against Doug Jones once again. So we're going to be going through a bunch of data, but firstly let's start off with this Washington Post headline. Quote, "They're just not that into you anymore," unquote. Doug Jones taunts Roy Moore as he waits another Senate run. Senator Doug Jones went on Twitter on Thursday to taunt Roy Moore, writing that establishment Republicans who backed his GOP Senate bid in 2017 are not that into you anymore as he considers to run as he considers a second run for that seat. Here is Doug Jones's tweet. It is blah blah blah. Sorry, Roy. Guess they're just not that into you anymore. Right. Moore, who was undercut by allegations of sexual misconduct, in the 1970s during his 2017 campaign, often wore a cowboy hat and leather vest and famously rode a horse to cast his ballot. At one rally, he pulled out a handgun as he touted his support for the Second Amendment. So, just going here, pretty much, this is a very bad look for the GOP. The fact that they are recruiting someone who lost in such a famous fashion in the last time, the fact that he's even considering running, it really beats me. So anyway, this is the Republican primary here in Alabama. Obviously, Democrats, just Doug Jones would go on to win that Senate seat. John Rogers, not a major candidate there. But in the Republican primary, we have a lot of candidates like Bradley Barney, U.S. Representative for Alabama's 1st state representative. He's probably the favorite right now, I guess, to go on and win. So this is the polling that we have in Alabama so far. Roy Moore actually leads in this poll, which is pretty surprising. If we go into the hypothetical polling, you can see actually Mo Brooks actually leading Roy Moore in that one. But very interesting, this poll. If we go, but enough with polls since we don't have any general election polls. This was the 2006 Alabama gubernatorial election. Now, why is this important? Some may say, well, Roy Moore actually ran in the primary here, so we can see with the Republican primary results, Bob Riley, who's the incumbent, got 66% of the vote, Roy Moore getting about a third of the vote, so 2-1 advantage there for that incumbent. Roy Moore got 153,000 votes in that race. As for the 2020 was 2018. Here, oh no, that's not the right one. This one. Here, Roy Moore got 650,000 votes, so he did increase his vote share, but this was in a general election, not in a primary. And they were voting based on that incumbent. As for the 2010 one, here we can see in the 2010 race, the Republican primary polling. Roy Moore also ran in this one once again and failed to reach a lot of that vote that he really needed to get. Here we can see Roy Moore gaining 20% of the vote. That's not very good for Roy Moore. He actually decreased his vote share from 95,000. He used to get 153, now he's at 95, so he actually decreased that vote share. And then the Republican, they obviously went on to win over the Democratic candidate. Okay, okay, now the 2016 results. So this is the 2016 presidential election in the state of Alabama. So here we can see counties like Jefferson County went 52-45 for Clinton. These counties went overwhelmingly for Hillary Clinton. Right. So we can see all of those counties. But look, Trump really just ran up the score in many of these smaller counties. 80%, 90%, 70%, really just running it up in these smaller counties. And that's what got him the win in Alabama. Now, if we go into Alabama, the Senate, Senate General, here presidential election, and then we can go into Senate General election. So I believe they did have a 2016 one. So Richard Shelby was the Republican incumbent. R. Crumpton was the Democrat, 35.8% of the vote. In 2016, Clinton got 34.6%, so very similar results there. Now, in 2012, 2012, county results, we can see in states like Jefferson County, Obama winning 53%, and then very similar margins in these counties that Hillary Clinton got. But again, Mitt Romney was really just running up the score there. Okay, now let's go into the actual Senate. That's 2016. Just look at this. Look at this map. Look at this map versus this map. Right? We can see pretty much the only areas where Hillary Clinton was actually winning was here. So I'm hovering my thing there. Right? It was here. Right? Just in this area. But look, Doug Jones was also able to win Madison. He was able to win Talladega. He was able to win a bunch of other counties. So that's very interesting, right? But and he was able to run up big in places like Jefferson with 68.1. Right, we can see again 68.1 vastly outshadows Hillary Clinton's margin in that state. So again, this is very, we can see some of these counties moved like 37% Democratic, 36%, high 30s. The lowest one actually only moved 8% Democratic, and that was Macon County. If we find it here, it should be around here. Here we go. And Hillary Clinton was able to win that one big time anyway. But again, so the main reason I wanted to go over this is because if we look at the morning consult polling, Doug Jones' approval rating is actually quite good for Alabama. I mean, 40% to 34%. But I think once he gets into the campaign, that may change. Now, if we go into Roy Moore, here we go into Doug Jones and then 2006. Oh, we can actually go into this and then just click on that. Okay, so this is Roy Moore. I wonder if we can find approval. So we can't seem to find that. But if we look at all of his elections, Chief Justice, okay, fine, he wins Chief Justice, and he wins a general election. But look, he kept losing here. He couldn't win the primary. He couldn't win. He barely won here, and then general election here. Yes, he did win, but barely over the Democrat, who almost came within him. He did win the Republican primary, but then he went on to defeat Doug Jones. So, again, that's very interesting. But the big news here, I mean, it beats me why he's running again. I mean, this is just gonna be really. Maybe I guess he might think he can win, but oh my gosh. It's just very funny that this guy who couldn't win in Alabama, you have no idea how red the state of Alabama is. Donald Trump won this 62 to 34. This is a big Republican state, right? And Doug Jones was able to win because his opponent, Roy Moore, was a child molester. So, again, that is really, if I were the GOP establishment right now, I would be saying to Roy Moore, get out of this race as soon as possible. We don't need you because you're going to hurt the eventual Republican candidate. And if he does jump into the primary, I think my prediction would be that he wouldn't win because Republicans would remember how he lost to Doug Jones. But, I mean, if he does, that could get very interesting. And, I mean, it could mean an upset in Doug Jones winning again. So, that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Comment down your suggestions below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.